Hey, welcome all to the Bidness, where we talk to people that are artists and creators, and just the best of humanity, and get a take on what's their life and how it's been affected within this last year with all the pandemic and the shutdown and everything. Trying to shake off that weirdness. Hey, tonight we have some really, really cool people in the room. We got Adam Sebastian Lee. Adam, the drummer of Let's Go Bowling, one of my favorite drummers, one of my favorite bands. Yeah. Oh, and he's also one of the stage riggers for Baby Shark, right? For Baby Shark. And what else?
Well, that company works out of Nashville. They do other kids shows and all that kind of stuff. But it's a Union Station.
Yeah, you were also working on The Price is Right for a while, right?
Yes, I do know how to do it.
Fantastic. And the next down the line we got Rick Kendrick. Rick Kendrick is the trumpet player and lead person, consultant, everything man for for the Inciters from Santa Cruz, one of the best Northern soul bands that you could ever get the joy of watching. And we're glad to have him here. And we got Dave Wiens. Dave Wiens, all the way from London. From London. It's midnight there. What are you doing, mate?
I don't know.
Don't let anyone stream in London.
I really didn't think this through.
All right, so Dave has a really long track record in ska and reggae. He started out with as a trombone player for Let's Go Bowling, and then moved on to other projects like playing bass for the Impalers, for Otis in San Francisco, soul group. He also was, I believe, a co-founder of Axe Records, and also works with Pirates Press Records. Which brings up Dion. Dion is the original skinhead for the Bay Area. Dion, and he's like, so tired. No, Dion is a great dude. He is once again one of the co-founders of Axe Records. He's a DJ. He has a very extensive collection, not just in rarities of Jamaican music, but also of Northern soul. And he has a podcast that is absolutely delightful, where he spins all these classic tunes and just makes you just die for the good days of dancing in clubs. And lastly, my name is Curtis. I'm your host from the band Monkey, and we have the returning champion, Brian, who just beat COVID right in the face. Yeah. No more coughing blood. Yay. And I'm super happy to have you guys here. There are lots of gravitas, lots of stories. Let's get right into it. This last year has been a challenge for all of us. And what I want to do is I want to get an individual take on what your life was like during this period. Did you create anything? Did you learn any new trades? Did you learn any new, did you start a garden? Did you start baking bread, making beer, whatever you did to keep yourself from going insane? We'll do a round of that and then open the conversation to just about any topic you want to. And let's start that conversation with Dion.
Yes.
Dion, what did you do?
What am I doing here? So, I mean, this whole thing is like, I'm with like everybody else, except for I don't have any talent, like everybody else on this call. And, so I'm a social animal, and well, I'm an animal. And so what I did was in April, a couple weeks into shelter in place in San Francisco. San Francisco was the first city to shelter in place, major city. And so I really, a few weeks into this, I'm losing my shit. So I decide, I got to start, reaching out to people. So I started streaming live. I have a couple of radio stations on Soma FM, which is great. I get to kind of curate a collection of music that streams 24/7. But what I don't have is that human connection. So 42 weeks ago, I started streaming live on Facebook, and that's what I've done ever since. I basically every Saturday, 7 o'clock to 8:30, I play soul music. But rare, not rare, and I do this so that I can like have some sort of connection with people. People like say, "Hey, you look like an idiot," or a monkey, or whatever, and at least they're talking to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's been my kind of creative thing over this whole mess. Also, and I've really tried to keep in touch with it. I used to be a manager. I used to be a tour manager. I worked for Let's Go Bowling, Bad Manners, Hepcat, and all those groups. And so I've kind of tried to keep my finger on the pulse of things, all things music, because through this, there's like, we completely have to reframe what entertainment is during this time. And there's a whole industry trying to solve for that very problem. And so, whether it's, Indie Week and they're, moving to an online, way of doing this and taking advantage of the things that are good about that, or it's, mental health awareness for musicians. It's something that is, music's still very near and dear to my heart. So those are the things that have come out of this for me.
Nice. Let's take this discussion to the best dressed man in the room, Rick. Rick, you make me feel so underdressed. I'm here in my Dan P in the Bricks shirt, trying to represent Santa Cruz, and you show up. Oh, look at that!
I'm only dressed for
well, actually,
I could only.
Actually, that V-neck is actually kind of like a one piece, so it's like a baby thing,
Does it snap?
This is one of those like
It snaps in the
snaps
crotch.
under the balls. Yeah, there it is. Just hugs them nice and tight.
And speaking of hugging Rick's balls, Rick, what did you do this?
The first lockdown, like March 16th, I worked in construction, pipe fitter, and we did get shut down. I was down for like 3 months, and that was spring. So I did, in fact, grow a garden for the first time ever, and lived off the fat of the land. But then I went back to work, so it's been kind of normal, at least work every day, Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
But as for hanging out with people, not much. We have this one couple we hang out with. That's our pod. We hang out with them every weekend. That's all we ever. That's it. And but no shows, obviously. And I tried a couple. Got bored and did some live Facebook DJing too, but it wasn't. I don't know. I didn't get into it. Like, I don't have the equipment like Dion does. He really did it up nicely. Mine was just kind of a punk rock version of it.
Nice. I did enjoy your updates on the resurfacing of your scooter.
Oh, and I did all the scooter rides. Yeah, me and Jason, because you're not hugging while you're scooter riding. So me and buddy Jason went on a lot of rides. And, I don't know if you know, but me and Dave and Dion here are going Black Sheep Scooter Club.
Absolutely. That's Brian, can you get Black Sheep Scooter Club some love in the feed?
Yeah, let me find it real quick.
Excellent.
Nice. We had a lot of great shows lined up this year that we missed out on, and the best one was going to be Dave Barker. We were supporting him, and then also the Horns were going to be backing him.
Yeah.
That would have been great. Maybe next year, because we had them booked for the scooter rally here in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then of course punk rock bowling, all that. But
for us, we had
town shows.
Yeah, we had a European or at least a UK tour booked, and it just got yanked, and they're still sitting on our flight money. So yeah, it's unfortunate. And speaking of the UK, David Wiens, Dave, what made you do? Okay. So I'm a little late in knowing that you moved to the UK. Did you do this because of COVID, or did you just happen to do this before COVID and then everything locked down, and now you're like, I don't know anybody and I just stay in my apartment? What have you been doing?
No, actually, we moved in summer of 2019, so we've been here almost a year and a half now.
Okay.
Yeah, so my wife and I. We moved to actually be closer to my wife's parents. They're in Germany, in Dresden.
Okay, nice.
So Yeah, we had the options of New York, London, or Frankfurt, and yeah, London seemed to be the most appealing.
What part of London are you in?
So we're in the south, kind of southwest,
Okay.
little town called
Yeah,
Teddington, kind of Kingston upon Thames, Richmond upon Thames. So yeah, right near the river. Beautiful, yeah, beautiful little area. So yeah, we moved. Yeah, so we had about 6 months of enjoying London before the lockdown happened. And it was a pretty damn incredible 6 months. I was able to see Madness. I saw the Specials. I saw the Selector. I saw Johnny Osborne, Yellow Man. Roddy Radiation.
Hell yeah.
All within a few months. So London's a pretty amazing place for ska and reggae. It's just
for sure.
I don't think there's anywhere other than maybe Jamaica, but even that. It's freaking amazing here.
Yeah, I do a lot of reposting and reposting the links on the London or the UK ska feeds because they take it seriously. Like ska is not like a passe thing that that they don't have the mystique that we have in America, which is like, oh, wearing checkers and being from Southern California means you're ska. And they understand that it's a deep, rich community that's been here.
It's just part of the culture, you can, anywhere you go, you can talk about ska and people know what you're talking about, which is, in the US not always the case. So that's been really great. And, and reconnecting with, musicians that I've, toured with in the past. Potato Five guys, I've been hanging out with some of them.
Oh, nice.
So I've been able to connect with Buster and see him, but hopefully that'll happen after the lockdown. Other than that, I was just working, didn't do much, really. We tried to keep connected. I think that was a big thing for us. So we would do Drunk Dial Fridays. So since in the evening time is the morning there, we would start drinking after work on Fridays and just randomly dial people.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That lasted for a few months, and then we kind of went through our entire phone book and got tired of looking at people. So,
maybe we should.
But it was rough. Being pretty isolated. So once I moved here, I was working at home full time. So I'd already been working at home full time 7 months or so before the lockdown, 8 months. So at this point, I'm really tired of working at home.
You and me both.
Yeah. So and I, during lockdown, I was also looking for a job because my job with Pirates Press is just a programming contract, which I'm almost finished with that. It was kind of frightening having to look for a job during this time when so many people are unemployed. So I got very lucky and found a great job. Started 3 months ago.
Nice.
So that's been good. So I actually have an office that I can go to, not at the moment because we're on full lockdown, but I'm able to go to that office pretty much as much as I would like to. So that's nice. Yeah.
Nice.
But things are going well. Good. Just trying to get through it.
Sometimes you thrive and sometimes you just hold on.
Yeah. But I have picked up my trombone again recently, so I'm happy about that. Yeah.
Nice. I want to see you on one of those big stages with those bands.
Yeah. I might see me on stage with Intensified, good friends of mine. So they've been threatening to get me to sit in with them. So
reach out to also there's a great cover band, a ska cover band in the Somerset area called Rat Race, and they're really good guys. They're really good guys, and they've helped us out with shows and stuff. And they're just really, they just love the whole two-tone thing. So that's their bread and butter.
Yeah, there's a lot of cover bands here.
For sure.
Two-tone and all kinds of reggae. So that's the cottage industry here.
Over here, yeah, for sure. And speaking of disco bands over here, Adam.
Well,
Adam.
how much is this guy?
Boots and pants.
Adam is one of,
Actually, in Adam's case, it's pills and dabs and pills and dabs.
Honestly, I would take that joke, but I don't do pills or
Or pants.
I don't putting 4 on the floor for way too freaking long. That's for sure.
Bitch.
No, this COVID thing, my right knee is all funky, and I'm all, oh, that's right. I sat there and saw it after 30 years. It's like, I can't stop my leg. Yeah, so I had a unique experience of being in Appleton, Wisconsin with Baby Shark Live when they told us that everything is canceled. So we went from we'd done 2 weeks of tech rehearsal and all this work, and then you do the first 2 weeks of the tour, and this COVID thing starting to bite at the heels of things, and you're thinking, oh, they're gonna start canceling shows. How's this gonna go? And we were in Appleton, Wisconsin, and we're gonna have a meeting after the the NHL had canceled that day. The NBA had canceled. I'm thinking, writing's on the wall on this thing, isn't it? We might be going home for a while. But so Live Nation told us then, they said it's going to be a year at least. So I didn't even, I walked into this thing going, man, and here we are, a year, basically, and I'm still, when I saw Fauci say something about, he thought maybe in the fall if we had to start getting, but hey, I'm not holding my breath. It's one of those things. But yeah, I went into this whole thing, kind of, it's like when you do the union stagehand thing, you work a ton, there's heavy hours and stuff. So I took the first few months of this thing, and I was like, fuck it, I ain't doing shit, and did not do anything on purpose. It was like it was a great feeling, and then I started going crazy because I like working. Of course. Yeah, it's been an interesting year because there's just it's something I always thought being a stagehand or being a musician, having an audience is you just, and entertainment is something that's always supposed to be there. I just never thought, oh shit, you take that away, and apparently I like to sit in chairs and drink, but it's it's been a weird year. I was trying to write some music and do stuff, but with the way things were going there for a while, man, things were changing so hard and so fast. So many negative, hateful things were happening. It really made it so hard to try to write positive music or like Curtis, I called you a couple times. I was like, man, I want to write something about this. I feel something about this, but it's so hard to put that into a feeling when every day there's new hate, and it's nice now to feel like there's some relief from that, and it kind of feels like things are opening up just in a mental physical way, whatever, which way I'm missing that word, but to kind of get back to feeling like we're on the other side of something. I don't know about how this COVID thing is going to go. I mean, it's do I feel healthy and strong like I could make it through it? Probably, but we just went through a big scare with my dad over the holidays, and I'll tell you what, man, it's fucking, that old man worked way too hard his whole life just to be taken out by some preventable disease. And so you get through the weight of all that, and then we've got some changes in our wonderful government.
Yay!
And we're
three cheers for boring government.
Yes, it's so fun. But no, I finally, I feel like I got this. I'm trying to set up a little recording studio here. Of course, I'm having problems downloading software because I'm a drummer. And, so I'm trying to get back to
you said it.
Hey, by the way, you heard about the drummer that locked his keys in his car, right?
Yeah, him and the bass player got high.
That's almost the punchline. The punchline.
Hey, I'm a drummer. Listen, we're watching the jewels come out of both sides of my mouth, right?
The punchline is, it took him a half an hour to get the bassist out of the car. Awesome. Well, I know exactly what Adam what Adam's lifestyle was, at least for part of Shutdown, because I've hung out with Adam after shows in Fresno, and it's like 3 a.m. and he takes the fishbone and he puts it on and he cranks it up to 1,000,005, and the house is rattling, the windows are rattling, and I'm like, how the hell do you live a life like this? Your neighbors should this should not happen. This should not happen.
Actually,
but it does.
I've been an audio guy for a lot of years, right? Mm-hmm. And so I have some very nice little speakers. Yes, they're very focused, but we're blowing into the house so that we're not actually going all the way through the walls. And this house, I figured it out, man, how I can, get away with that.
Cool.
Something I missed. I lived in an apartment for so many years where I couldn't play drums. I couldn't do anything, and it's like, man, I'll tell you what, drummers, it's like this is a terrible term. I'm not going to say this. Never mind. I take back what I was going to say. But drummers deal with, sound absorption.
Yeah.
And you can make a drum joke after that. That's all I'm going to say.
And I have a feeling we will.
So,
Awesome.
Curtis, have you guys been practicing?
We have. We had a long discussion about it, and I've talked about this on other shows. I might as well hit it again. As a band, we took the precaution of practicing like every other week, so that there was 14 days in between. Yeah. And then most of us were working jobs that were constantly testing. Yeah. And for the few people that weren't working jobs like that, like me, I stay home. I don't do anything except walk the dog. So, and walk the dog means walk the dog. It doesn't mean what the kids are calling it these days.
Because we haven't got to practice. We did for a little bit. We couldn't practice in a studio together. There's 10 and 11 of us in the room. So it wasn't working. So the bass player in my band also owns a plumbing business, and so we were using his plumbing garage, his big giant warehouse.
Nice.
But so the horns would stand outside and we bought these bags to put over the horns, and everybody was inside. But man, it just got fucking cold, and it was freezing. We were doing this when it was really peak of
that is great stuff. You're into too, right?
I don't know. It was fun. Everybody was bundled up. It just didn't feel like anything was. It was hard to create when you're freezing.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. That we just kind of put it back on hold again. People are like writing and sending each other ideas, but that's as far.
Yeah. It's a time for reflection on what you want to do musically, and it's a time for file sharing and like having someone come up with more than just an idea of like I'm sure you have the as a songwriter or as a song smith in general, you've worked with groups of people where someone says, I got something on a I'm playing maybe a trombone or something, and it goes and you're like, okay, cool, and you're like, well, what does that mean? And then someone else has to pick out the chords and has to pick out the da da da, and it's such a small idea, and sometimes it blossoms into a song, sometimes it doesn't. And with COVID, it's these people that used to come and go like, hey, it goes like they are able to now get a software and put a chord underneath it and send it, and you're like, okay, I can follow that.
There's a couple people in the band that can really work garage.
Yeah.
Garage band.
Easy, Dave.
A couple of friends
that garage
know the interwebs.
And,
don't worry, we got some Centrum for after the show.
And
they've done some cool stuff. But,
hey, I just want to throw something up. Let's Go Bowling hasn't rehearsed in like 10 years. Like, what, COVID's going to change it? And see, they're both laughing because they're true.
We didn't want to see each other before this.
They don't. Yeah, they just get on stage.
But it's so funny. Like, what's that? That's the Allen Iverson thing. Practice. Who needs practice? I'm sorry to ruin it for any Let's Go Bowling fans out there, but we've been riding on our own coattails.
At least he's honest.
Oh, what?
We played just to let everyone know, we played a show recently with Let's Go Bowling, and it was a fun, fantastic drunken fiesta.
Curtis had a special night.
Yeah, it was great. It was great, and
Curtis and I were too, because the rest of his band was late. Remember?
Oh yeah.
We show up, and Curtis is there, but then the other 4 guys from his band are still on the way.
Yeah, they're stuck in traffic or something.
A rain delay or whatever. And then I get in there, and I got half my band sitting on the wall. And I'm like, there's no house music playing, nothing. I'm like, guys, what's going on? And they're like, well, but Monkey's late. And the dean's like, I don't know what we're going to do. I'm like, what? get them on stage and say something. I mean, people paid to come in here. What are you doing? Like, and so, Curtis, got some songs in him, right? We could just get up there and I pulled my dumb timbali drum off my drum set and danced around like a fool. I mean, you got to do something, man. These people pay $15 a head, and they're sitting there looking at us, going, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
It worked out.
Yeah, that was a super fun night. My favorite part of the night is Glenn looks at me. You guys are playing Freedom Sounds or some Scott Lights tune, and Glenn looks at me and he's like, and I was like, "What, you want me to play guitar?" And he's like, he just hands me his guitar, and I was like, "Okay, cool." So I get up there,
you can actually play upbeats,
and they're like, "You solo." Like, you solo. And I just go, okay, I know the song. It's in G minor, and I'll do something weird. And I did the solo, and I was like, I didn't want to overplay because I didn't want to like fucking wall anybody with noise. It's not monkey is much like an explosion. It's like and they're playing a Scott Lights tune. I want to be like on point, so I'm just playing this, just some notes and like doing some blues and maybe some blue notes in there. And Glenn comes back and he's smiling. He slaps me on the back and he goes, "Man, when I told you to play guitar, I didn't say make me look like an asshole." And I was like, "Oh, did I do something wrong?" He's like, "No, you were fucking sensational." And then he got on drunkenly and grabbed his guitar. It was super fun.
Glenn was drunk. What?
It's rare. It's rare, but it happened.
No,
Awesome.
I had fun. That was, putting you guys up that one night was fun too, man. We the first time after all those years of all these people putting up a Let's Go Bowling, all these different travels.
Yeah.
I finally had a ska band at my house, and you guys couldn't have been more ska about it. It's the best way I could say it. We had one of you guys working out in the front yard in the morning. I don't know what was going on. Some of us stayed up way too late.
Yeah.
Then,
hey, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember any of it.
I remember that you woke up and you're like, "Hey, you guys want some food and coffee?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." And he's all, "Good, because we don't have any food, but we got lots of coffee."
I know better than
lots of coffee
for a ska band. I mean, really.
Glenn says he wasn't drunk; he was tipsy.
Oh yeah, Hi, Glenn.
Hi, Glenn.
Yeah. So, why don't we? Did you see anything cool in the side feed there, Brian? What we got people saying?
Glenn saying that we don't know how to party.
Oh my God, my mom is calling me.
Oh, just wait. It'll go away.
We've got Scully.
Hey,
Scully saying, "Evening, gentlemen."
Have Jen call her back.
And I picked the wrong month to do dry January.
And this thing called dry January. Wow, this would be. See, for stagehands, like January and August are like the 2 months that we just don't. Because I won't work outside during August because I'm a grown man stagehand that will die in the heat. And then in January, it's usually, everything's dead for the month. So these are the hard drinking stagehand months right now. If that ever comes back, who knows? I'll tell you what, I went back. You mentioned Madness earlier, man. We were supposed to go see Madness when they were at Oakland.
Well,
and man,
that
pissing me off. That
Yeah, we still have. I don't think our tickets have been refunded for that because it just keeps getting rescheduled, along with Punk Rock Bowling, which has been rescheduled for September.
Yeah,
and they said they told us they want the exact same lineups.
Yeah,
that they.
Yeah, really.
Billy Bragg.
I should have done Punk Rock Bowling, man.
Billy Bragg just got. Billy Bragg just refunded, and that was about the same time as the reschedule for Madness. Yeah. So I suspect that we're going to see that happening. Yeah. There's a survey about. what's going to happen to live music is, I've been like delving into the business side of things, but what's going to happen is really such a like a crapshoot, because I mean, you think about the economic model of nightclubs in the first place. They're very high overhead, they're low margins, and if you talk about reintroducing bands with reduced capacities, then it makes it much less viable, because then what the artists aren't going to be able to afford to even national tours are going to be more difficult and much more further and far between. So there's been like a lot of surveys about
what $150 T-shirt.
Right. Well, that's it. Because the ticket prices will have to go up substantially, and even with all of this, and say that we're talking about September live music in clubs, just say that was the case, there is a lot of hesitance, or a lot of people are not going to be rushing back into live clubs, and most people are going to be saying, and I've seen some survey data that says people are going to wait about 6 months to see if the people who are going to shows start dying, or whatever the case. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, this is like a transformative time, and nobody has quite figured it out yet, and what's going to happen next. But when it comes to live music, we're going to have to start thinking about the long haul, and how do we create some sort of a model that's going to enable artists to actually get in front of audiences in a way that's engaging to audiences as well.
For sure.
I mean,
because dinner shows aren't going to work for Scott.
Right. Oh man, hey, just to say this real quick, I just think about these old bowling shows where we were playing. That place was so packed and so hot that the sweat was dripping off the ceiling on us.
Yeah.
Like you're like, what's that cold water? Oh, that's other people's sweat. Like so, I'm pretty sure that those are super spreader events.
I don't see punk rock bowling happening in September, but that's what they're saying.
No, I don't. Really, honestly, like the whole thing. I work for a kids show, right? Which is, man, we'll talk about a retirement show for a stagehand. You're off early. It's so great, but I mean, really, you're talking about taking kids to their death, man. That's
right.
That's the wrong. Wrong style.
I will say something in regards to punk rock bowling. Most of it's outdoors. Although it's all crunched in, there's a ton of people there, but
not most of it. I mean, there's a lot of
there's a lot of clubs.
The best shows are the club shows.
Yeah, right. It's a whole,
of course,
and the pool,
of course, but Vegas wants to make the party happen.
Yeah,
whether or not it's in the best interest of people.
Vegas doesn't care if you die.
Yeah, and
that's a secondary consideration.
We have lots of friends
look out in the desert around Vegas.
I just bury him under the fifth cactus. No, I have friends that play music out in Vegas, and their life has been, of course, they've seen problems in clubs cancel shows, but their bands are now refusing to play shows because the clubs are like, yeah, we're open, come on, we got to play, and the bands are like, are you kidding? Like as bands, we have to say no, and so
it's hurt our fans.
It's a very
online stuff, and I said no because we can't practice.
Right.
You know how
I'm not going to put my fans at risk, man. No way. They work so hard, and they spend their time to their money to come see me play, and I'm going to put them in a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
Fuck no, man. That's bullshit. It makes me so
exactly.
mad.
We got a couple of offers from secret red hats that were out in the cuts. They wanted us to come play some big festival or blah 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 in the mountains, and I'm like, you are out of your effing mind. I'm going to stay home and I'm going to start researching your background, because if you're not wearing a mask and scared to death of this, then you're playing for the wrong team, buddy.
Mm-hmm. My parents have COVID right now.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
They were sick, but my dad got better real fast. My mom's coming out of it now, so she was real worried about it.
I was
she's getting
really worried about. I mean, I know Rick's parents really well. We've been friends. Rick and I have been friends
79 years old.
Yeah, it was pretty sketchy there at first when we were getting those updates. So I'm just glad that they're on the mend right now.
Yeah.
I always think our parents put up with us for so long, like they deserve a break. Like,
but the funny thing is, I became their parent. I was yelling at them and telling them things, wear your mask and don't do this and do that. go to the hospital and get checked. They weren't going to the hospital. I made them go to get checked, and they did.
That's awesome, though, man.
So it's like reversed roles. It's so
That's
funny.
that's truly the cycle of life. I mean, Rick, you're not far behind in diapers yourself.
Oh, crunch. This one's really crawling. I got the six on right now.
Is your onesie getting wrapped up in it? Your
the diaper thong doesn't really work that good.
All about the baby powder. All about the baby powder.
It's not just for Northern Soul,
The diaper thong just splits it.
Hey, what time is it in this interview that where it devolved into freaking poop jokes? How do we?
I'm surprised. I'm surprised we didn't get there earlier.
I thought that's what this was going to be all about. You guys lied to me. Scott.
The only way to get you involved. Yeah, it's going to all be about poop and farts. I'm in.
That's
all cars.
That's you. Usually, when I'm trying to get people to come onto this show, I tell them we talk about really important things and fart jokes. So,
I'm sold.
People like,
I'm totally sold.
Someone's trying to bait me into some poop stuff.
Much to your wife's chagrin.
Hey, everybody poops.
Dion, Sebastian, you're in trouble.
Well, nothing's happened yet.
You brought up the P word.
Women don't poop. He's taken away. Nice.
I enjoy, back to music, I enjoy hearing trying to steer it away because I know where it's going to go, and I know. I enjoy hearing your worst show. Who cares about hearing about your best show?
Oh,
your worst show.
Oh yeah. Let's do that.
Let's
do that. Let's do a round of the worst shows that you can remember.
Wow.
That you either played or
went to. Right now I can tell you Stickman's. I think Dave Weeds, you were there. The bowling Stickman's. It was like they had like 4 mics and there was like 2 people there, and we were like Iowa somewhere out there, like almost died in a cornfield. Crazy how man it was.
Is that Davenport?
Well, man, I can't. I just remember the name of the place was like Stickman's, and it was like they booked us and they had no idea what we were, and it was literally they needed a bar band or some shit, and we were Let's Go Bowling, and it was like
Chicken Wire.
yeah, totally. Rolling.
Do they have 2 country? Do they have 2 types of music, country and western?
Yeah.
Was that the one where we were in the back room? And there was a hallway. The bar was in the front, and then there was a long hallway, and we were in the back room.
Could have been.
There were like 3 people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we're talking the same thing. Yeah, it was
3 people. So I remember, like, while Dean was playing a solo or something, I ran down the hallway to the bar and got drinks and brought them back.
And like the 3 people that were there, I don't even think knew what those people were like. It wasn't, but they were nice, but it was just just a weird thing. Yeah,
we were on tour with Deals Gone Bad, and one of the shows was in the, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, Poconos up in New York.
Poconos.
Yeah. We get there, and the club had no idea that we were supposed to be playing that night. So there was nobody there. Not even 2 people, 0 people. But we just played. We played, and Deals Gone Bad was the best audience we ever played to, and they played, and we were the best audience they ever played to. And then actually, it was the worst show we've ever played, but also one of the most fun shows we've ever played. We just made a great time out of it.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, nice. It's always nice to see a good recovery. Dave, what's your memory of the worst?
The worst. Oh God, yeah, that's a hard one actually. There's been quite a few of those.
There's always a lot to choose from.
Yeah, I think the worst was actually with radio noise.
Yeah.
And this was completely my fault. I don't know, for whatever reason I was having a bad day, so I decided to start drinking early in the day. So the gig was for the Marin Humane Society, and it was like in this massive like gymnasium up in Marin.
That's a great word.
And Yeah. So I was at one point I was like spinning around on the floor playing my bass on my back.
That's awesome. What are you talking about?
I'm just imagining.
Yeah.
I'm imagining Marin is a really, for people that are not from California on this thread. Marin is a really nice area with really rich people, and I'm just imagining a really nice gymnasium filled with moms and their puppies, and Dave just being drunk, like stupid drunk.
Yeah. Like I could barely play, it was a mess. It was a
I'm talking
mess.
about half my career.
And
By the way, Dave went on one of the Europe English tours with us, Inciters.
Oh, nice.
We
yeah.
played Isle of Wight that year. We headlined Isle of Wight in Saturday.
That was
night.
crazy. I was there.
Was yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I have a
Nice.
worst show story, and I'm
Tell
not even
us.
a musician. All right.
Preach it.
1993, on tour with Bad Manners, doing a European tour. We are kind of about almost, maybe 4 or 5 dates into the tour, and into actually towards the end of the tour, 4 or 5 dates from the end of the tour, and so we're playing at a place called the Tivoli, which is a very famous club in Utrecht and throughout the Netherlands. As we always do, we had this, old Mercedes-Benz bus. We would pull up, and we would do the whole thing. Go load in instruments. I would always have to negotiate as the tour manager with the venue about merchandising. It was they were real sticklers in the early '90s, as you guys probably remember. And so the deal is, I negotiate, I bring in shit, and of course I sneak in a bunch of shit as well. And so I send out the merchandisers, Irish girl, Tracy. She goes out and she says, I see her yelling at our bus driver, who is this guy from East London who constantly drinks and drives us all over Europe, and sometimes drops acid and shit like that, and cries. Anyway, she's yelling at him. I go over and say, "What the fuck is going on?" And she says, "Herman lost the fucking coach." I mean, how do you lose a fucking coach? And so I say, like, how did you couldn't, okay, you're fucking drunk. I'm okay with that. Where's the fucking bus? He's all, it's right out fucking front. So I go out there, and there's no fucking coach. There's a big fucking space where the coach was. Turns out that somebody stole the whole bus. And so it's so then we're like, okay, now we're in the Netherlands, and we have another couple of shows, and then we got to get back to London. And anyway, what happens is I end up being the only one going to the police department, the police department, while the band's getting ready to play. And I sit there and argue with the police for hours, and they're just laughing at me because I'm an American. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And so anyway, they told me, it's in Bosnia, probably in about 2 hours now. They're like picturing this, like these guys driving a bus with Bad Manners T-shirts, and a bus full of chickens, like in the middle of the fucking Bosnian War. Anyway, the show was great. Yeah, the show was great, but I had to figure out how to get a whole fucking band around a couple of different guys, and it just sucked. Oh, and the best part is, Buster, like as soon as he gets off stage, he's like, all right, going to Amsterdam for all kinds of fun party time. And he left with the publisher of High Times magazine, who ended up giving us a 2 garbage bags full of hash and weed, and we had to get rid of within 3 days. So the next 3 days were a complete mess.
Oh, that is fantastic. And I have to let you know that as a young ska player, I really looked up to our local band, which was Skanky Pickle, right? Yep. And Skanky Pickle, Mike Park says to us, and he'll stand on a soapbox and yell it out today. He's like, if you want to learn how to do it right, you learn it from Buster Blood Vessel. If you want to learn how to do it right, you do it because Buster Blood Vessel is the smartest man ever in music history.
The Sultan's Cross. I had to explain the Sultan's Cross recently.
Yeah, so we went on tour with Buster because we were like, it's going to be great, according to Mike. And ever since, we've heard nothing but like, dude, oh wow, like and it was exactly like that for us. There was a lot of
oh wow.
I was giving him a ride somewhere in San Francisco. Well, I think a couple of the guys
Yeah.
were going to stay at my house, if I remember right. I played DNA with them. And he's in the back seat, and I'm at a red light, and all of a sudden, the car's moving around. He's jumping out of the car. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? and he's running down some alley. Not running, he's waddling down some alley. And I asked the band member that's sitting in the back seat, I go, what the hell? He's supposed to be coming to the house. What's he doing? And I'm trying to yell at him to get back in the car, and he won't get back in the car. And they go, Dad, just go. He'll meet us at the airport tomorrow. Just go. He went and hung out with a bunch of bums. He saw this group of bums, and he wanted to go hang out with them. He was not going to get back in the car.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's the most incredibly difficult band to tour by.
Yes.
It is so fun.
I saw
Everything that can go wrong.
On Instagram of Dave Wiens when he was playing bass for them with Bad Manners. Didn't you did an American tour with Bad Manners, Dave? Right?
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
It's a really cool photo. You look great in it. I was going to say, it was like somebody said this is Bad Manners in God, was it like not Sharks or something in San Diego? I can't remember the venue, but I'll try to find it and send it to you.
Is Dave wearing zebra print shorts? Because I would love to have that picture.
Hey,
No.
you want to hear
No, that was Buster.
We have a song written about how he protected us from vampires. We have a whole song.
Yeah. No.
Dion after we played in Tijuana.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And the only Hispanic member of our band decided to pass out as we tried to cross the border back. All right, so this is a long time. Okay, so the whole thing is that we got to the venue in Tijuana, and Buster, there was a strip artist store that he disappeared into, and we tried to follow him in there, and it smelled so bad, like sort of like a barnyard. If you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And so we left. I remember the two people I was with. I'm not gonna impugn them at this point, but we opened the curtains on this place and went, oh God, and then just left, right? So we all get wasted, play the show, and we're trying to get across the border. And our wonderful guitarist Dave Molina had passed out in the front seat, and so we're trying to get back across the border, and he won't wake up so he can answer the damn questions. And anyway, we get across the border, we get back to this crappy hotel we're staying in San Diego, and our door is like warped, so it won't shut all the way. And Buster is on a tear, and he's like coming into our room and like talking to us, and then he's leaving, and then like he shuts the door and leaves, and we're like, he's gone. But the door wouldn't shut all the way, so he turned around and popped the thing back open again, and just said, we're tired after a while. We're like, dude, go home. Like,
no, he doesn't.
And he finally kind of got the clue. I'm not really sure if I should explain what he showed us, but he placed a couple fingers of his in a place of his, and then Dean Olmstead and I are like trying to hide under this coverlet on this bed as he puts the Sultan's cross on us and tells no vampires will ever touch us. So I feel good with that. I know vampires. And then he finally leaves the room, and that door shuts, but it doesn't shut all the way. I jumped up and I like used my whole body, all 109 pounds, to like push it till it clicked, and I was like, oh God! And I heard it thump. And like a second later, I was like, oh man! But so that song, Sultan's Cross by Let's Go Bowling, featured on Mr. Twist, is very much about that.
You can buy at Walmart.
When you can do like me and have to buy it online again.
Hold on. Brian has some great Tijuana stories.
Yeah. So when Monkey was on tour with Bad Manners, and we played Tijuana. The boys, the Monkey lads, they all left to go back to the hotel to sleep and do their thing. But I'm just like
a.m.
Yeah, it was like 4 a.m. You know.
Do you know any problems?
But I was like, I wanna like follow these old guys, these old dirty Brits around and see what the fuck kind of shenanigans they get into. Like, this is what I'm out here for, right? And we go all around. We like get in a cab. We go out to this club. Everything's closing down already. It's all just like it's done, and nothing happens. And I'm like, well, that was a bit of a letdown. So I go back to the hotel. There's nowhere for me to sleep except for like the slab concrete floor. So I get a couple of hours of sleep on the slab concrete floor, and I get up and I walk downstairs, and Buster's down there, just spry as all can be, just like, oh, top of the morning to you. You want to go get some beers? And I'm just like, it's fucking 9:30 in the morning. Like, no, I don't. And he walks one way, I walk the other. I get like 2 steps going to the left. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Brian? Follow Buster. So I catch up to him. We go into this club, and very much like what Adam was in, just this dirty, skeevy, dark, dank club. And it's Tijuana, so it's obviously like a brothel strip clubby thing. And they sit us down, and he orders a big pail of beers, and they sit people down on our laps, and they're sitting there like fawning all over us, and I'm sitting there like chugging a beer, and Buster is just going to town right across from me on this person sitting on his lap.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like looking at these like manly hands, and I'm like, excuse me, miss, like, please. And I get this person off my lap, and I just kind of like lean over to Buster. I'm like, hey, Buster, these birds aren't birds. And he's just like, no. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, dude. I'll see you later. Flash forward to like a day later, we're in San Antonio, and I'm sitting in the back room, just sitting there warming up, and Buster just kind of like shuffles up to me, hands in his pockets, all quiet, and he's all like, I'm like, what? He's all, those birds weren't birds.
A repentant Buster Bloodvessel.
No. Well, he wasn't that repentant, because like 2 seconds later, Curtis points our bass player, who was a female at the time, to Buster, who is over there with his dick out, just pissing into a trash can.
Yeah.
Just like, what the?
Yeah.
What is going on here?
What I really like about Buster is his lyrics. He's so poignant. I want to tell Robin Williams he was late on that.
It's stories like these that band members get to experience, and normal people don't actually experience, and that's part of the joy of being in bands and being in the music
for hours.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Hours.
What am I, 30 years
Believe-
in? 30 years.
Believe me, I'm not capping it. We could go on for another hour. I'm totally cool with it.
I did like 200 shows a year with Bad Manners for a couple of years, and every
Oh,
night
man.
that. It's just
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
just one.
yeah.
That's just one band, and we can talk
Right.
hours.
I will say that for all the strange depravity and craziness that band brought, I had a good time.
Yeah.
I had a good time. So that's really what it comes down to, is that.
That's the essence of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, except for Oklahoma. Now, okay. So here's the thing with Oklahoma. So the real problem with our tour with them was that they went through a very, very sketchy booking agency in Southern California. And this booking agency literally said, we want you to play San Francisco, then we want you to play LA, then we want you to play Seattle, then we want you to come down to San Diego,
What?
then you go to Arizona, right? You go to Phoenix, you play a show, then you come back and you play Tijuana. And then,
breaking my
I know, right?
and then from Tijuana, we want you to go all the way to Oklahoma. San
Antonio next.
Antonio, and then Oklahoma. And that tour was just crazy. And I talked to the tour guy, and I said, what is, months before the tour started, and I said, this routing is maniac routing. There's no way that this could happen. And he's like, and you know what he told me? He's like, look, I don't care. I don't care. It's about money. These guys can't earn a bunch of money these days. So I'm sending them wherever the money is. And if you have to take 2 days off to drive, you're going to do it.
Yeah, well, freaking, even with a driver, that's impossible. And then what? Somebody dies because
Exactly.
they're asleep at the wheel, man. That's,
Exactly. So they have a driver, right? Buster has a driver, but we don't have a driver. So we're all doing shift driving to make this stuff happen. And of course, we blow a transmission. We do a whole bunch of the stuff just started falling apart. And by the time we got to Oklahoma, I was done with it. And I had a big argument with the guys early in the morning, and I literally just got out of the van and walked for about 2.5 miles and sat in front of like a car place, just deciding whether I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. It was that bad. And Micah, our drummer, called me up, and he was the guy that I was arguing with earlier that morning. And he's like, hey, dude, where are you? Like, everybody's worried about it. And I'm like, actually, I've just walked back and I'm sitting across the street now. And so he comes over and he's like, what's the deal, dude? And I said, the deal is that you guys can leave the band and create a new band at any time. But since I do everything for the band, I'm the manager and I'm the booking agent and I'm the guy that buys the merchandise. I'm the guy that pays for the van. I'm like, I can't walk away from this. And right now I want to get on a plane and fly away, but I can't give you the keys for something that you don't even own. You know, and I'm all, that's the reality. And the reality is that, like, this tour has pushed you guys so much that you're yelling at me, you're barking at me, and it's only going to get worse if we don't get on the same level. Boom, everybody in the band's on the same level. We walk back to the club, and the club goes, we don't have no monkey booked here.
Oh, man.
You're going to have monkey booked here.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, I don't think so. There's no money in it and there's no time slot. And I said, well, guess what? There's no band because half the band is backing Bad Manners. So we're going to get in our van and we're going to drive the $50 worth of gas that we have to whatever we can stop and beg for cash to get home. It is now or never. You put us on this show and you feed my guys or we're done and the show's over. And the guy he just walks out of the room and he comes back and he's like, man, you put me over a barrel. I'll give you $100 I'll give you $100 and I'll give you a prize. And I was like, okay. I'm like, that is at least something. And so we got on, we played for about 20 minutes, got off, they played. And after that gig, we told Buster, hey, we need $50 more to get the distance from where we are here with the $100 that guy just gave us to the next one, which is in like Grand Junction, Colorado or something, Utah. And Buster was like, I can't do it. And I was like, no, you will do it.
Yeah.
You will do it.
Yeah, motherfucker, you will.
There won't be a band to back you there. And so finally he's like, can I lend you $50? I mean, this guy was getting like $800 for that gig. You know, it's like,
hey, Curtis, the thing with Buster, man, his stories all turn out. Yeah. Man. I'm going to talk the truth right now, and David Wiens and Dion can back me up on this. That man was not exactly fair with the monies. But I would like to take this conversation and turn it, though. I want to say that when I first started Let's Go Bowling, I had two guys right here that were amazing. And then took on that pressure that you're talking about, Curtis, about being on the road like that and having to put up with these clubs and Dion Watts throwing his fucking briefcase and Dave kicking our band into shape, man.
Wait,
it
was a first. It was a first.
Man.
Yeah.
It was a first, yes.
The stuff that, you know, we had to fight our way through, man. Brother, and Curtis, you were definitely one of us, man. It's you fight the way through all that shit, you know. Look, solve the world wherever you want, you know. You
fight because it would be so lame to
over those people, man, and be like, no, man, it's about me. It's about me now.
And you fight so hard because you realize that you put all this time and effort to make this happen, and that to just go home is not in the cards. It's not an option. It's not an option. And this is why when I talked a couple episodes ago, we were talking about what it means to be a musician. And for a long time, I wouldn't tell girlfriends that I was a musician. I wouldn't tell jobs I was a musician, because there was always a black cloud over musicians. Like, they're on drugs, they're always late because of gigs, they're always getting kicked out by girlfriends and that sort of thing. And at some point I realized, no, you know what? Being a musician has tested me way harder than your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Harder than your life. Not only can I think my way out of the box, and I can maintain my anger and my passion over a subject, but I can do things on time, and I can do it in multiple languages, in multiple different types of money, and multiple borders. That's what it's given me. And so now I want everybody here, and you guys don't need to hear, because you guys are classic, road dog tested musicians. But for the musicians that are in the feed watching us, I want you guys to know, be proud of it.
Oh,
yeah.
I miss that more than anything. I almost miss the road trips and the band camaraderie and just making it through things than I do the shows.
That self-determination.
Our Inciters band is sitting out there just getting leaves all over it, and I just can't wait to climb back in that with 10 other people and complete life for a 12-hour drive.
I invite the band members over to just sit in the van and like it's an hour. Sit in the van.
He's literally not lying.
Right. Driving.
And we did that show in San Jose, and I just rode around with you to go to your house in the van. In the red van, fucking right around the monkey van. Listen to Fishbone driving around. I'm in the front seat. I got to be in the front seat. I'm excited.
Yeah, we have a hierarchy in our band. We have so many members. It's we the old folks. We have our spots.
Never
other people like no, you don't sit in that spot.
Oh, yeah.
New members are in the back, Jack.
Oh yeah,
Probably don't want to sit in that spot.
Our issue was the back bench. The back bench of the van was where you could sleep, right? You stretch out.
Well,
right? You
there's the sleepers. There are the sleepers in the band that love the back seat, so they don't fight over that.
Oh, I mean, I've been in Monkey for 17 years now, and I sit in the passenger seat in the front, and if anybody's sitting there, I walk up and I'm like, "Fuck you doing?" I'm just my stuff's just sitting here for a second. I'm going to get back in the bench. Just a minute. Don't worry about it. Like,
and this man doesn't get out of the bench to do things that he should be getting out. So, let me tell you a story about this man. This is on a recent trip up to Seattle. We're getting fast food up to Seattle, and people are drinking, eating, whatever. And they put in the drink holder, they put a milkshake, and do not continue drinking it. It's too much, too rich, whatever. So the milkshake has been sitting there all day. Then we do a show, and everybody is super drunk and super crazy, and I'm driving, and everyone's like, Del Taco. So we go to Del Taco, right? We go around, and then the guys that are in back that were sleeping, they're like, what? We're at Del Taco? I want taco. So we go around through a second time to get this stuff, and we're sitting in the van. Micah opens the door and says, okay, time for a mung removal. So we call the dirt and the crap in the van mung, right? It's a fictional creature, because it not only is it live in the van and it's ever present, but also eats your favorite thing. Like where did my CD go? Where's my left shoe? And you don't know where it is, and then suddenly the mung spits it out. Well, anyway, Micah's doing a mung removal, and Brian, instead of opening the door and grabbing the thing and going, here, Micah, here is a full drink, a full creamy milk, and sitting here. Okay. Instead, he goes, yeah, I got something, and he hands it to Micah over his shoulder. And our friend that went on the tour with us, Brandon, is sitting in the seat behind him, and he just pours it. just opens it up and pours it down Brandon's entire. And Brandon is drunk. He's got tacos in one hand, burritos in another hand, and he's going bow, ow, ow, and he just gets a splash, and he's like, "What the hell?" And I'm all, "Brian, you just splattered him." And he looks down and he goes, "Well, I guess this is my life now. Oh,
Well, it was his life. Yeah.
just about the funniest thing I've ever seen. Oh man,
That's not
love
the
it.
Hey, guys,
only time I've done stupid shit by not
we're
jumping
all
out of the
such
front
young
seat.
men. You know what I mean? We're all such young men without knowing. You know, there's a lot of things you grow and learn as a man. You know, and so when you're that young and you're out there on the road like we were, and fucking, we're 19, 20-year-old kids.
Oh yeah,
figuring this out. I always think let's go bowling, man. With David Wiens and Dion, like you guys, like putting the band together. That disco man with a trailer on it, and we're the rear end almost fell. The band, like we're like 20, and it's like
Dion tried to throw me off a moving bus once.
Oh, in Berlin.
Oh,
tell us more. Tell us more.
Well, Rick,
we got an extra
you want to tell him, or shall I? Oh,
I
that's
don't remember it. So
right. So we're on our way to Berlin. We're going to get to Berlin like many hours early, so we can have a whole day in Berlin, and just have a great time. And about 100 kilometers from Berlin, we're in a bus, a sleeper. It's got 17 beds or whatever, and lounges and everything. And somebody had over imbibed. And that somebody who had over imbibed started tripping his balls out. And so it got to the point where I'm trying to, we had to get him off the bus because he felt like, he was going to throw up. He was freaked out. And so, these guys have a back lounge and a front lounge. And so we're in the front lounge near the front door, and the bus is now pulled over to a rest stop. And I'm trying to get him off of the bus so that he would be out of the way of everyone so everybody else could get out. And he's on his hands and knees screaming, "You're trying to kill me." He thought the bus was still moving, and I was trying to throw him out. We swear to God. So then we finally got him off of the bus, and he's next to a garbage can, and the guitar player pisses on him because he didn't realize that was him down there.
But my favorite telling is the German police that come up and go, "What is going on here?" They look at me passed out on the ground. They go, "Ah." So it's been told to me, rock and roll.
It's like, yeah, well, we're going to show in Berlin and this and that. Rock and roll. Yeah. They fuck up.
I love the German humor.
Wonder we're alive. You want to talk about the super wonder of ska? We're all still alive.
Yeah, Paul told me a great story about the Scotalites and getting him a little bit too green. Tell us that story. Yeah, tell us that story.
No, the best thing about that was that man, we were on tour with the Scotalites, man, for a month. I got to freaking sit there with these guys, man. The originators, there's nothing compared to just being there with them every day, and they're just the crotchety old selves, man. Fucking loved it. Man, I glow when I think about it because it really at the time, I didn't think what it was, but now I look back and I think, man, I was freaking right there every day with these guys, and so many good stories. But yeah, that tour, we were called Let's Go Bowling, but I don't know that we. Let's Go Bowling. Did we ever figure out where that name came from?
Oh, I know.
I think it was something else, and then I thought it was something, and then hi Brian. But so yeah, we got real high with them. We were in like Boston area somewhere, but they had somebody like the good weed, and he showed up, and we went on tour with them for a couple 2-3 weeks at that point, so we were all cool at that point, smoking together and shit. And so Lloyd Brevitt, bass player, rubs it up in his hand, man. And we smoked this chilling with him, dude. And that man smoked some marijuana. Woo, boy. And so I was in, everybody's in, dude. It was a psychedelic night. How high we were. And our wonderful, lovely Paul Niskun, sir, who just, man, it was just a little too much for him. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a bad guy. He's none of that shit. Ain't talking like that. But it was too much, and so the thing was, is he For some reason, our trumpet player, Pat Bush, at the time thought that if he got him a gin and tonic, it would like straighten him out. Oh, God, it made it worse. But so the only time we ever saw Lloyd Brevet without his hat on, when he was waving on Paul with his little pork pie hat. I mean, dude, ska memories that I can never explain to you. It's like Lloyd Brevet takes his pork pie off to wave it on your singer to see if he can like get it back together, go on stage. A short story, a long story told short. Paul did not end up playing with us that night. We had to like he had sound checks, he did everything, but man, brother was too high. Oh boy, Sly was too high. But man, there ain't no hate going on with it. We were just like, holy shit, we got way too high with the skylights. I mean, who cares?
How cool is that?
We left his guitar. It was funny. We left his amp was on and his guitar was on stage. And it was like halfway through our opening set, somebody's like, "Where's Paul?"
Yeah, I talked.
We couldn't even tell him.
I talked to Paul, and he said, yeah. He's like, I took one step off of the bus, and I couldn't. I like suddenly there was no equilibrium, and I just fell to my knees, and I just was dry heaving. He's like Lloyd comes up and he puts his jacket on me and goes, "It'll be okay, man. It'll be okay." And like Darren comes, he says that Darren comes out of nowhere and it's like, "Dude, we got to get on stage. We're late." And Paul's like, and Lloyd goes, "Go to stage. I'll take care of you."
So that thing like with Paul. Who was it? Was it Doris? Well, who was the female singer? That was
Doreen.
Sorry. So she was back there with him, like she was like taking care of him backstage, right? He never made it to the stage, by the way. I'm not sure what psychedelic visions he was having. But I great conversation with Lloyd Nib though. When Lloyd Nib was telling me about, I remember the first time I smoked marijuana. I remember. This great story about like Lloyd Nib told me this really cool story. Like, and man, I get to sit there with Lloyd Nib and hear a story about the first time he smoked marijuana. Are you gotta kidding me?
Yeah, exactly.
But so this whole thing where Lloyd Nib's telling me he's like, yeah, I smoked with my friend. I smoked, and then I hear my mother's voice. I say, I have to go. And my friend says, nobody call you. That was it.
You got a background laughter.
Adam.
Nobody call you.
That's excellent. Yeah, I remember we did a recording with Roland Alfonso on the first record, and
Roland.
oh yeah, absolutely, for sure. So Roland says, he says, hey, you tomorrow morning you come and pick me up. We're staying at this lodge. And I go to the lodge, and it's a notoriously like horrible lodge in downtown San Jose. And so I pick him up. I knock on the door, and he comes to the door in underwear and a tidy whitey, right, or in a white t-shirt. And he's just like, oh, come on in, man, come on in.
All right. All right. Sure.
All right.
So I walk in the room. And there's two beds, and I'm like, I wonder who's in that bed. And I look over and I see that the blanket is just covered all the way up to the top of the head, and then there's just gigantic dreads. And I'm like, oh, Lloyd is in that bed, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm trying to be reverent and nice and everything. But Roland Alfonso gets up and he puts one leg in his pants, and then he falls back on the bed.
Oh yeah.
It takes him like a half a minute to get back up, and then he's like puts another leg into his pants, and he's like, oh, and he falls back into the bed. And I'm trying not to crack up. I'm being as reverent as possible. And then he goes, Lloyd, man, and you hear this. You see the dreads kind of shift a little, and he's all. He's like, "Me got to go." And then you see this long finger pull the blanket down, and he goes, "Where you go, man?" "Oh, make a record." And then we go to the studio, and of course he nails it first take.
That should be a graphic
Oh,
novel. I can
Rabbit,
see that.
absolutely. So we do the recording, and he does it in like a take, and I say we're done, and he's like, no man, let me do it one more time. I was like, okay, cool. And then he does a second take, and it is absolutely gold. I mean, the first one was like silver, and this one's gold.
Rabbit
right?
or Roland?
Yeah, this is Roland. This is Roland
Roland. Okay.
at the studio. So we get there, we do the recording, and I tell him we're done, and he's like, we're done? We're done? I thought we'd make a whole record. I'm like, no, just a solo. We just want you to solo, and then, you know, and we love you. And he's like, oh, nice. And he goes, you sung. It's like, yeah. He gave me a kick, and I remember that, and I will remember that to the end of my days.
Right on, man.
Yeah,
Right on.
that's a good feeling, good warm feeling.
Hey, not to jump on this. We're talking about Skylights, but Lloyd Nib called me by my name by the end of the tour.
Oh,
And I was like,
good.
That's big.
And then he told me what I was supposed to be doing. Adam, I'm gonna need you to go over there and do that. But it was, close enough for the kid.
I dream of the day when Angelo Moore remembers me, because I've met him 1,000 times. Always a brand new introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are just like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
For sure. He sees a lot.
Quite a few that are like that.
way.
Well, guys, it's we're long past the hour. It's been a fantastic conversation. I am so happy to see all of you here today. Usually what we do is we tie it up with a last question, and that question is when they do lift the COVID restrictions and people are going out there and looking for whatever's left of entertainment, we as a community have to be ready for it. And we also have to encourage other people to be ready for it. So my question is a very simple one. And I'll just do, we'll go down the line, but what I want to see is just a simple idea of like how you can roll the ball forward, how you can encourage other artists to be expressive, how you can encourage local people to engage in like backyard parties or whatever it takes to make music happen again, to make joy happen again. And this time we'll start with Dave. Dave, do you have I know you're in London, so it's a little bit different. You don't really know a lot of the people in London, particularly in the sense that you do in San Francisco. But what do you think you can do to kind of encourage this?
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's hard to encourage, but what I've been doing is just trying to support the venues, So like the Jazz Cafe is one of the venues they do, where I saw Johnny Osborne and Yellowman. So, I pre-bought, a package of 8 tickets. So, and just contributing to, charities for musicians just to keep people afloat and keep them going, to get them through it. But yeah, it'd be tough for me to encourage people. I mean, most of the people I know here are musicians, so they're ready and willing to get out there again.
Fantastic. Dion, what you got?
That's tough because as we talked about earlier, it's like trying to envision what the reemergence of live music and live entertainment is going to be, and I don't know that I have a good answer for it right now. It's just like I don't know what's going to happen to me, like in where I'm at by the end of this. And I think that one thing that I have my struggles with where we're at right now. I mean, all I want to do though is I want to basically embrace people once we can be in person, and I just really hope that there's a lot of energy and appreciation for live music in particular. In the meantime, keeping venues going is going to be really difficult. That's I've had a lot of insight. My dad owned a nightclub, and I've worked in the business for a long time. I know those are very expensive operations to run. So if we don't support them, they're going to go away. And then we're going to have to be even more creative about what entertainment looks like on the other side of this. So I think it's what I can do is still yet to be determined, but I'm very interested in what's going to happen.
Excellent, excellent. Rick.
Well, a lot of clubs here in Santa Cruz have actually closed. A lot. There was only a handful of clubs anyway, but a couple of them have closed, and without naming club names, because I don't know what's going on, very big name clubs that you know of are probably closing. I've heard, because I know people that know people, and the two main clubs here in town might not make it through this. But I'm sure that that's going to open the doors for something else. I don't know what that something else will be. Will it be sit-down shows only? Will it be only one club? I don't know what's going to happen. I've done a couple DJ things for sit-down, and that is no fun at all. I can't see as a band playing sit-down shows. That would suck, being on stage playing the sit-down shows. I don't know, but I can't encourage people to go out either. I mean, if somebody offered us a show next week and said, we'll pay you sick amount of money, go do this show. No, we can't. So, and that could be September also. That could be, I don't know when. So, no, I can't encourage it. I don't know what's going to happen.
It's the great unknown.
No foresight of what's going to go on with live music. It's a dead future for now.
Yeah. Even
when it opens up, are people going to want to rush to that first show and you're excited to play it, or do you go play it and only 20 people show up because everybody's scared to go out?
Yeah, for sure. And that's valid. That's a valid viewpoint as well. It's hard to think of these things and to when you yourself understand the gravity of the situation to that degree. Adam, what do you think?
Gravity. The world has changed forever. This has changed things forever.
Yeah.
It will never go back to the way it was, ever. Don't think to the past, think to the future. And your future isn't going to be what we had. Oh, God, what a glorious thing us old men had. But I really, God, it has changed. You cannot face this the same way we faced the past. You have to look forward, and we shall. And I don't deny music as a thing, because you cannot take the music. But fuck, man, I don't know what to do yet. I know that I would feel terrible if I put people in a room together and hurt them. You know, I mean, that's an awful idea. And it's that's so. Here we sit though, still with that still being an awful idea at this point right now. We will have this meeting again, and we will talk in the future when we get more knowledge and we grow further. But we always have to look forward. Please, please, please. Don't give up on music, but man, ain't gonna be like it was ever.
Yeah.
Know that.
Yep.
Done.
Yep.
For sure.
I'm gonna try over my old stuff. I'm kidding. I hate to come up so hard, but man, fucking gotta be this way, dude.
You guys didn't practice before. You're not gonna practice after.
I was gonna say that too. This shit. No, do you think boys gonna practice? Oh, the thing is, I can still nail that shit.
Yeah.
I don't need to practice.
Yeah.
Fuck, I've been fucking up Route 68 for how many fucking years? Like what?
Things aren't going to change.
I don't know, man. Start the same.
Does it go or does it go
rude? There is a future for us. There's a future for positivity and good thought, and no worries.
Yeah. Well, you know,
create this new one.
This is kind of why I put this whole thing together with Brian, is that we realized that we have so many friends that are affected by this, and I haven't heard pip or squeak from a lot of them. And the ones that I've heard from are either people that are like, "Are you still alive?" or people that are like, "Help me! I think I'm going to commit suicide."
Oh yeah, so you don't want that.
At this point, I am doing this not as it's not like some self-ingratiation that I am seeking. I am actually seeking to talk to musicians that were valid. We are valid. We were valid. We are valid now.
Always valid.
Valid when it's over. yeah, just hold on for a minute. Everybody, we love you. We love you. And I love you guys. I love you guys. I love seeing your faces.
Love you too, Curtis, man.
Great to see you, man. Yeah.
For this. Thank you for this, Curtis.
Thank
You're
you.
a great guy. And that Brian guy, he all right.
You face hippies all need to go home. It's shame.
You actually don't want you don't actually want to see me without a beard. It's not good.
You need to
All
do
right.
your back.
You guys are killing me.
This is the best one yet. I know this is the best one yet.
This is my favorite. This is my
We'll be
favorite.
back next week.
Talk about poop.
We'll have to again. All your bands do talk to your bands, and we'll do like a band centric episode. We'll do like a Let's Go Bowling episode, or a Impalers episode, or an Inciters episode. Yeah. I'm down. Let's do it. Let's talk about old times. Let's talk about fun times. Let's talk about the future, and let's talk about the Bidness. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for being part of this. If you want to stick